G'day, Scott here from ScottsHobbyz. This video I will be restoring an old forged knife, but first I thought I'd show you a common visitor at my parents' place.
Hey Skippy, how you doing? You're going to be on YouTube, Skip.
This is quite an old knife and the wood handle's starting to rot away and fall apart, and the knife is rusty all over. Steel pins were used to fasten the handle, but I'll be using brass. On closer inspection, once the handle was removed, I noticed that the knife actually had a distal taper and a tapered tang. On top of that, you could also see the holes in the tang were punched and not drilled, as well as some unevenness in the thickness along the length leads me to believe that this was a forged blade and most likely a production model for that maker and not like a one-off masterpiece or anything.
You're going to be on YouTube.
First step was to clean it up thoroughly and then to see if I could read the maker's mark and find out who made it. It took a good 10 to 15 minutes to clean it properly, but came out really nice once clean. Once it was clean, I could make out the writing London Made with a W in the middle and Liam's Field next to it. I tried a bunch of Google searches and mostly got loads of pages talking about London knife crime, so that didn't really help. I also looked through an old book of a friend's which lists the details and maker's marks of hundreds of old English plane makers, as apparently plane makers were often edged tool makers as well, but I also came up empty. You can see here how the holes, where is it? Yeah, you can see there how the holes look punched instead of drilled and how much nicer it looks now that it's clean. And there's a close-up of the maker's mark. This is a offcut of an inch thick piece of Merbau I got from a friend, and I'm experimenting for the first time with what I'm going to call the poor man's bandsaw. The Merbau didn't come up as nice as I thought it would, but it's a strong, sturdy wood and will last a long time on there, so I'm not too worried.
Crap. If you see here, they've kind of got a weird hump in the middle. I don't think I'll be rip cutting on this thing anymore. Well, this is the first time I tried it, but it seems to start pushing the blade sideways and it doesn't want to come back, so I guess that's because there's nothing supporting it at the top. Oh well, it was worth a try, but it works really good for profiling them, that's for sure. This is going to be a pain in the butt. You see how uneven that is and not flat, and on top of that it's a tapered tang, and I kept poking drill bits through the hole until I found the size I wanted, which was about 3mm. So the drill press has too big of a chuck to use that as well, so I'm using the hand drill. Yeah, so this is going to be interesting. I think it's going to have a lot of gaps, and I'm going to fill it up with a lot of epoxy so that water and stuff doesn't get in there and rust the tang again. So I've drilled one side and put all the pins in, and as you can see there's a lot of gaps. I flattened out that bit on the bottom, but where the punched, because the holes are punched on this instead of drilled, it's kind of bowed and left a little ledge, so they're pushing up against that, and it's not very flat to begin with. So this is, I've done one side, now I'm just going to try and remove one pin at a time and drill from this side into the scale on the other side, which thought I lost it for a second. So yeah, I'm going to remove one, drill in through here, and it'll drill out this side, and hopefully if I do this it will line up. If not, I might, because of the tapered tang and the unevenness, they might not want to go through right, so I might have to expand the hole a little bit, but since I'm going to peen the pins, that should cover that up and still provide a good mechanical lock. So that's the plan if they don't line up, is to make the hole just a little bit wider to get the pins to go through all the way. This is going to be the inside, by the way. I've left enough room on each side so that, well, I'm hoping I've left enough room on each side so I can flip them. We'll find out, I guess. Otherwise there'll be a bit of tear out, because this wood likes to do that.
I actually got the scales to do what I wanted, and now I'm sanding the profile to within a few mil of the tang so that there's less to do after glue up. And I also shape and finish the fronts of the scales before glue up as well. It was taking a bit too long with the small hammer, so I moved on to something with a bit more smushing power.
I mixed up extra epoxy so I could jam it in all the gaps, but looking at that amount of squeeze out, I think it's pretty full. Honestly, with 5 pins on there, I don't think there's much of a point clamping it up. Now we wait.
You can't really see what I'm doing there, but I was grinding out the chips from the blade and also squared off about an inch of the spine to strike a fire steel, as I'll probably use it outdoors a bit. Handle shaping was simple, just rounding the edges, which was common with old coffin shaped handles, yet still more than comfy enough for use. I'm thinking of making one of those knife makers vices so that it's more stable and I can get to different angles easier. This is Sal, she's Mum's cat. She likes to see what's going on and usually comes up to check everything out. Not too fond of the power tools though. I sharpen the knife to 20 degrees per side on the Edge Pro. It's a little bit thick behind the edge in places from years of sharpening, but it cuts fine. And if I had lowered the angle, I'd start cutting into the maker's mark. I finished with Edge Pro's 400 grit stone and stropped on bare leather to remove any burr. I did cut some phone book paper, but I was out of frame, so there wasn't much point in showing it, but it does shave arm hair. Yeah, so if anyone knows anything about the maker, I would love it if you commented on it. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a good one.